Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today I'll be reviewing the Allbirds Superlight Trainers. So 3 pros that I have with these Superlight Trainers is number 1, I think if you have the very specific training shoe ask of having the lightest shoe possible, this model I think will deliver for your needs. So for my size 10 model here, it comes in at a weight of 5.25 ounces. So when it comes to weight on the foot, this shoe feels like honestly virtually nothing, almost like a sock at times. So I think if you like really lightweight training shoes, this model could be a decent option to look into. The second pro that I have with this shoe is that I think if you want a training shoe for more casual use, especially in warmer months, this could be a really good option to look into. You have a super breathable upper construction, and so when wearing these with like super thin no-show socks or barefoot, I found them to be pretty comfortable overall. Again, they feel very sock-like, so I think if that is an ask, once again, for your overall needs with your training shoes, that could also be a good point in which the Superlight Trainers will deliver for your asks. My third pro with this model is I think if you are very casual with your training or doing very like casual HIIT workouts on rubber gym floors, this model will deliver an okay performance for your overall needs. But let's talk about a few cons that I have with the Superlight Trainers. So 3 cons that I have with the Allbirds Superlight Trainers is number 1, I don't think the durability is going to be that great. And so with my left shoe here, this happened after my first workout. It's actually been one of my fastest shoes to break down to date out of all of my training shoe reviews. But essentially this foam midsole up here on the toe box is starting to pull away from the upper. This was after doing just 2 sets of a circuit of sled pushes paired with like 10 burpees. So it wasn't even that demanding regarding the work I was doing in them. And so maybe this is a one-off case, but honestly, with how lightweight this shoe feels and how it's reinforced, I would not be surprised if other folks are gonna run into some lipping here with the midsole on the toe box of this shoe. So definitely keep an eye out on that if you're gonna be investing in this model. The second con that I have with this shoe, and this kind of piggybacks off of the durability issue that I have with this model, is that their performance is kind of just subpar. Like, I get the idea behind this shoe. It's one of like the lowest carbon footprints to date from Allbirds, and I like the mission behind them of using more recycled materials. But if that comes at the cost of the performance of the shoe and the durability, then I almost feel like it's doing more harm than good, because folks are gonna invest in this shoe, be very unhappy with how it performs, and then go with something else. Because with this shoe, you don't have a full rubber tread here. So on turf, I was sliding all around. Also with this midsole, it's not the most responsive, even though it does have a slightly plusher ride. So in the gym, I wasn't the biggest fan of this shoe, and that's why I say they are okay for casual stuff. But I think if you're gonna be pushing the limits on turf or even wooden gym floors, I would say steer clear of this model because of traction issues. Also, with the foam midsole up here breaking apart from the upper, honestly, I feel like any workout where you're gonna have more stress into the upper of this forefoot of the shoe, you might run into issues which would kind of nullify the investment of this model for your needs. So obviously I'm a little bit fired up because of how fast my model broke down, but the performance of this shoe, honestly just subpar. My third con with this model is with its sock-like fit and its lower volume, I'm not convinced this shoe is going to be great for folks with thicker feet. Also, the toe box isn't super wide, so if you do have notably wide feet, this will also be a model that you'll want to steer away from. But now let's talk about the performance of the Allbirds Superlight Trainers. To break down the performance of the Allbirds Superlight Trainers, I'll discuss the performance for lifting, cross-training, short runs, and daily wear. In the context of lifting, I think if you're doing at-home stuff and you're using lighter dumbbells, or if you just plan to go to the gym and wear these for very light strength sessions, they should be okay. However, once again, if you want a training shoe for any form of dedicated strength work and lifting, I would say steer clear of this model. The upper, I don't think is gonna be reinforced enough to withstand the stresses of lifting heavier weights. Plus the midsole is a little bit more plush, so you're not gonna get the best stability. And with this lack of rubber tread throughout the outsole in this model, I don't want you to be like setting up on like a hack squat or a leg press and like slipping out with this shoe, or even doing any form of dynamic work with load in the gym and then sliding on turf and whatnot. So if you're very casual or more beginner with your lifting needs, the shoe should work just fine. However, I think if you're looking for a training shoe for any form of dedicated lifting, pass on this model entirely. In the context of cross training and more versatile training, the shoe is okay. Once again, keep it very casual. If you're gonna invest in this model, it'll do pretty well if you're like on rubber gym floors and you're gonna have a little bit more traction. I also think it could be a good shoe for somebody who is just getting into HIIT or some light cross training where you're not gonna be doing anything too crazy with your workouts. But if you're gonna be doing any form of plyo like a broad jump or excessive toe dragging movements like I was with burpees or a sled push, I would say you might want to steer clear of this model once again because of the durability issue, and I'm just not convinced that you're going to get enough grip with this model to really give you a nice lockdown feeling when doing multi-directional movements and whatnot. So from a cross-training point of view, the good of this model is that it's super lightweight. It does feel kind of sock-like, and I could see them being a good option for summer wear, but the drawback is that it's not going to be the best for more serious training. So this model is marketed as being good for HIIT, home workouts, bodyweight workouts and stuff, and I do think that it will perform well in those contexts, but when we talk about HIIT, there's a pretty wide range of demands that come along with different HIIT workouts, and if you are erring on the side of like tackling more serious HIIT or going higher intensity with your training, steer clear of this model too. For short runs, I would say probably pass on this model as well. One, the durability I don't think is going to be the best with a shoe if you use them for a lot of running. So if you're doing a couple of miles, even just pre or post workout, honestly, I'm not sold that this model will last that long. Plus, with the foam outsole here, you're not going to want to use them outside on concrete because you will start to get that foam midsole to fray. And now for treadmill running here and there, they might work for you, but honestly, I would say probably pass on that in this shoe too, because again, I don't want you doing that and then having them break down too fast because they're not technically designed for that. From a daily wear point of view, I see this model as being okay if you are somebody who wants to wear a training shoe for warmer settings for very short duration. So for example, let's say you wake up, go for a coffee and then go to the gym afterwards, and it's a nice warm day outside and you want to go sockless in your training shoes. I could see that being an okay context for the shoe in the context of daily wear, but I would not opt for this shoe for all day wear because once again, the outsole durability, I'm not convinced that this shoe will last that long. Also, its low profile volume of its upper just doesn't give it the most spacious and comfortable fit, so definitely consider that too if you plan to invest in the shoe and also use it for a day-to-day use basis. So when it comes to the price of the Allbirds Superlight Trainer, you can expect to pay $120 USD for this model. Now, I think if you're not an Allbirds diehard fan and you're not necessarily worried about the carbon footprint of your training shoes, then I would say that the price point is probably not that worth it for the shoe because with its durability and performance drawbacks, honestly for $120 you can go with pretty much almost any other shoe on the market and get a little bit more regarding how long they'll last, at least in my opinion. Again, maybe this is just a one-off instance, but to have a shoe break down after one workout for $120 USD, kind of a big bummer. And if you're gonna be training seriously, I would say the price point is not worth it for this shoe. All right, so now let's answer the question, who should and shouldn't buy the Allbirds Superlight Trainer? So in the context of who should buy this model, I think if you are somebody who loves Allbirds and their mission to limit their carbon footprint with their shoes, I think the shoe could be a good option for you. It will have a similar fit, in my opinion, to like the Tree Dasher and whatnot, so it should resonate with your foot anatomy if those shoes already fit you really well and you like their fit. I could also see this model being good for somebody who's very beginner in nature that wants a very lightweight and breathable shoe for home workouts and more casual stuff in the gym. Now, who shouldn't buy this model? First, if you have thicker or wider feet, pass on this shoe. Second, if you plan to do any form of serious lifting or strength work, you're gonna wanna pass on this shoe. And third, if you're somebody who wants a shoe for more dedicated HIIT and cross training, and you like to push that intensity on different surfaces, also pass on this shoe. And then to add to that, the shoe's not gonna be the best training shoe for outdoor workouts, so if that does sound like your ass as well, you should also probably pass on this model. I think there are some contexts where the shoe can make sense, but I think for the vast majority of athletes and lifters who are most focused on performance with their footwear, I would say probably steer clear of this shoe, and honestly, it does not get the TF2 approval. So when it comes to the sizing and fit of the Allbirds Superlight Trainer, I think most folks should be safe going true to size in this model. Now, the shoe has a more like narrow to medium width to it, so if you do have wider feet, again, you'll want to pass on this shoe, and its volume is pretty low through the upper in the forefoot and midfoot, so if you do like a more spacious upper, you'll also want to pass on this shoe, but if you have a narrow to medium foot width, true to size should be the safe call in this model. All right, to cover the weight, heel toe drop, and insole in the Allbirds Superlight Trainer for my size 10 model here, we have a weight of 5.15 ounces. That is crazy light for a training shoe. This model's heel toe drop is 6 millimeters, and this model does not feature a removable insole. All right, so now let's break down the construction of the Allbirds Superlight Trainer. So the upper in this model is built with a eucalyptus tree fiber and recycled polyester. That extends the entirety of the shoe. You do have a slightly more reinforced medial layer here around the toe box and like a synthetic overlay back here on the heel with an external heel tab. Looking at the midfoot, you have 4 core eyelets that go up with thinner laces. These laces are honestly not my favorite. Even when double knotted, I found these coming undone in my workouts on a few occasions, so So the laces I think could also be reworked in this shoe. With the tongue construction, you have more of this overlay tongue. It's not a true gusset, so you have this tongue that kind of folds over itself when you're putting it on the foot. Once again, I am starting to have that midsole lip off of the upper in the shoe. For future iterations, I'm really curious if they can improve this, and I'm also curious to see if other folks are gonna run into this issue as well with their model. With the midsole construction, we have a super light foam, and it's made with a sugarcane-based green EVA. Overall, it's pretty plush, but honestly, it doesn't have, I think, the best density to give you a nice pop on the ground. Like, it is pretty plush and soft, but honestly, I wish it was a little bit more responsive. Looking at the outsole, you have 3 little rubber overlays here, one up here at the top of the forefoot, base of the forefoot, and then back here in the heel. This material is not that grippy, so once again, I would say tread lightly on different surfaces when using this shoe, and this model, once again, does not have a removable insole. If you have additional questions on the construction of this shoe, drop a comment down below. All right, guys, that wraps up my review of the Allbirds Superlight Trainer. Honestly, the shoe has been kind of a letdown, and I like the idea behind them, but performance-wise, I don't think they're there yet. If you have additional questions on this model, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.